How much is too much to steal from low-income families and from kids just trying to eat? I would say anything more than $1 is too much, but call me crazy. Well, if you haven't heard, okay, in St. Louis, Missouri, there was a nonprofit, and the founder and the owner of this nonprofit has basically admitted to fraud. And this fraud is that they have stolen $2.3 million worth of student meals that were intended to feed low-income families. Okay? That's a crap ton of money, and that's so many meals for people that desperately need them. Okay? So that's why I'm saying it, even $1 is too much. Okay?
Yeah.
So the owner of this nonprofit, their name is Cymone McClellan. They're 32 years old, and they pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Prosecutors said she admitted that her and her partner, 43-year-old Tara Davis, they submitted false and fraudulent meal reimbursement claims to the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services from January 2019 to June 2022. Yes, that was during the pandemic, okay? And they did this on behalf of their nonprofit called Sister of Lavendar Rose, okay? And federal documents have stated that she claimed to have served 862 children in her area. But then it was proven she only purchased enough food and milk to serve less than 25% of those meals.
Holy cow.
Okay, that's a lot.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
And she also admitted to spending $60,000 from the nonprofit's bank account for a down payment on a home in Collinsville, as well as tens of thousands of dollars for another home in Florissant. Okay. Not to mention a handful of vehicles. Some of them were high-end cars, such as a Mercedes-Benz and a Lexus. And as part of her plea agreement, she has agreed to forfeit all the vehicles, the houses, and at her August 26th sentencing hearing, the prosecutor said she will be ordered to repay the rest of the money. Okay.
Good.
Now, we're talking $2.3 million. Okay. And so let's do a real quick, 2.3 million. And let's say that she actually spent $575,000 to serve about 200,000 meals. 75% of this money just went to fun for them. And the partner, Davis, he pleaded guilty to the same charges, and in a week or so, he's going to be sentenced. Is it too harsh to send them to life in prison? I mean,
you're taking advantage of vulnerable people.
This is not stealing from the rich.
No.
You know what I mean?
Resources from vulnerable people, vulnerable children who are already in a financially stressed situation, likely, who relied on services. And then you add in the fact that there was a pandemic during this. And so people couldn't actually go places. You know what I mean? Like it was hard times. If you were food insecure, when you did go to the grocery store, shelves were barren, prices were crazy because of people panic buying. And here's a resource to get food to low-income families, specifically children. And they're like, we don't need to feed children. We need gross. It is gross. It's gross that you would even think that they would even think that this was okay, or that this wouldn't have an impact.
Yeah. And I mean, this is not like they're doing all this charitable work and they did like a loan to themselves from the nonprofit so they could buy a house. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a small instance. This is a period of like just nonstop purchases. You know what I mean? Like, this is so bad on so many levels. I'm actually more surprised that they didn't catch on to this quicker. Because so they did this for almost 3 years where they were supposedly, serving all these people. And it kind of makes you wonder, did nobody from the Department of Health and Senior Services ever go to one of these sites and go, that's weird. Doesn't look like you're servicing near as many of the people that you claim to be.
Right. I think, unless they just cook the books instead and all they check is the actual financial statements and not necessarily like
Oh, I'm
the
sure that the
facilities
only
themselves.
thing that ever got inspected was the paperwork. And just like if anyone who was doing like the PPE loans during the pandemic, if they had just stopped for 1 second, looked at an application, did a little Google search on the address, they would know that there wasn't a diamond mine in a residential neighborhood. Okay, that's a real business in Atlanta that was given like $3 million. And when you look at the address that was supposed to be for a diamond mine, it's literally in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
So, like, if we're talking about a business license, like, yeah, the business license could be run out of
Anywhere.
a
Yeah.
residential area. But if you're talking about the actual location of the mine for a diamonding,
And it kind of makes you wonder, is there actually any diamond mines in Georgia to begin with?
90%
And
sure the answer is no.
yeah, like they do have gemstone, like where you can jiggle, some screens and some creeks, but I don't think they're mining for diamonds. So all I'm saying is that if these government agencies,
Uh-huh.
if they had just gone to the physical location where they were handing out this food, this fraud would have been caught a whole lot earlier. There are estimates that 60 to 80% of all those PPE loans that were then forgiven were for businesses that physically don't even exist, that it was all fraud because they were just trying to get that money and get those applications done so quick that the very minimum of due diligence was not done. Because they've gone and they've shown where people have applied for this money like 33 different times for 33 businesses that don't even exist. It's like, is nobody doing any kind of just basic checking on these companies or these nonprofits?
Apparently, the only place you can mine in the United States for diamonds is in Arkansas.
Exactly. So that right there should have been their first clue that maybe there wasn't a diamond mine in a residential neighborhood outside of Atlanta.
Jesus Christ.
And I want to say it was like in Smyrna. And if you've ever been to Smyrna, you know there's not a freaking diamond mine out there.
We're lucky to find a hiking trail in Smyrna, let alone a diamond mine. Jesus.
So I'm just saying, like, when I saw that news of like they had, pled guilty and, all this stuff, and I was like, hello. One Google search, like literally 12 seconds, boom, denied.
We did it. Look at us.
Yeah. So anyway, let us know down below, what is an appropriate sentence for two people that stole 2.3 million from low-income families, specifically children, and meals that were meant to feed them? And two, why do you think that the government and these departments aren't doing just some basic inspections on nonprofits and businesses of whether they actually exist? And, because the Department of Health and Senior Aging, they were reimbursing, money that this nonprofit supposedly spent. And so that's money wasted that could have actually gone to real meals, So let us know your thoughts down below. And as a bonus, does this just piss you off? Because it pisses me off like big time.